If you don't know what womb awakening is, while the womb is a place that birth and fertility and all of that happen, it's not about that. And even if you've had your cervix removed, it's not about that either. It is about, as women, connecting back into the space, the energy vortex that for many years people in other cultures knew. This is where, as a woman, lots and lots of power lives. It's not only the power to create a child, it is the power to create worlds. It is the place that a lot of our intuition actually lives in, but we have been so disconnected from this for so many years. Hi Savitri, say hello, and you guys tell me where you're in. Write in here in the comments where you're watching from and what the weather's like. But here's why. First of all, I stand for the sexual freedom and the freedom of all people, sexual, financial freedom of all people, specifically women. If you haven't looked around and noticed this Me Too campaign, whether you love it or you hate it, some people feel triggered by it, some people feel whatever, but it is evidence that women are finally sharing their stories and they're saying enough is a freaking enough. And you know what? There are so many people that are not sharing. As a woman who has been sexually violated more than one time in my life, once as a child and once as an adult and other times as well, and as a woman who has worked with many, many, many women, let me tell you, there are a lot more women than you think that have been affected by this. And then if they haven't been sexually assaulted, there is usually some story of actual physical assault or deep emotional violation. All right, there is something happening as the divine feminine is rising, and we as women have not for thousands of years seen ourselves represented in spirit, right? Most of the time when we think of spirit, we only think of God the Father, which I love God the Father. My awakening came through Christ energy, but there is also a feminine version of that. There's a God the Mother, and when you live in a society where you do not see a representation of yourself except for that you need to be protected by men, and most of the men and the representations of men and your place in society has been, not held in the safest, most protected, holy, divine way, it can be very confusing. And so one of the reasons that I focus, hi Melissa, on womb awakening is because so much sexual shame, trauma, and total cut off from source, from the source in ourselves, and to the mystery of ourselves starts right there in the womb. All right, it starts in the womb. So there is deep ancient truth, deep ancient magic that lives right there. But guess what? If it's blocked, because one, you don't even know that it lives there, two, because you have sexual shame that may have nothing to do with abuse, it could be cultural training, religious training, just moral code, and lots of women are totally cut off, hi Lacey, from that area of our body. But then you add to this group over objectification and sexualization, right? So I'm not knocking feeling sexy, looking sexy. You know that I love all of that. I'm a sensual woman that owns my power, owns my voice, owns my body and my self pleasure, and I believe in that we deserve that, and it's a human need and it's beautiful. But most people women have this view of sexuality that is not even accurate, right? Either because you're just totally disconnected, hi Tim, or looking at our society. And in our society, for over 5,000 years, women have been living in a place where we are taught to shut up, to sacrifice, to serve. And I'm not saying, I'm surrounded by great men and great women, and I know that we have come a long way, but there is a pattern. There are years and years of training. And even though we've stepped out of that in a lot of ways, there are all kinds of places and all different parts of the world where women are still being highly oppressed. And speaking about all that, I want to tell you a little story that is going to make a point. So when I was about 23 or something like that, I went and got to be with Dr. Phil. He was here in Dallas, and there was a program called Pathways. And Amy, I think you were there. No, I didn't know you yet, but there was a program called Pathways, right, Lacey? And so I just happened to get called up in the middle and to work through a process. And the process that I was working through was that I had been molested from the age of 8 to 12. And as we were working through that process, we talked about some of the impacts in front of everybody, the whole audience. There were like 200 people in there. And we talked about some of the impacts. And some of the impacts for me were that I didn't feel worthy, that I was ashamed, that I couldn't hold boundaries or tell men, no, or that I didn't know how to. I could tell them no, but I just had this sense of shame about my body and about myself. And I regularly just felt like something was wrong with me or off with me, and I wouldn't even think that it was connected to that, but it was so aligned with that. And Dr. Phil said something really incredible to me. He said, okay, so this is horrible, this is awful. What happened to you should have never happened to you. You were a child, your brain was developing, and this man who you trusted and you loved took advantage of that, created this world where you thought you were safe and that you had a special relationship. And I was just bawling because I felt that he said, that's not your fault. That is not your fault. But now you're a 22-year-old woman, and guess who is still abusing? Now who's taken up the role of the abuser here? Who is continuing to bash herself, beat herself up, and to finish what this guy started, and is taking on the role of the abuser and is doing it to herself? And he was like, it's you. It's you. You're abusing yourself. You're telling yourself you're not enough, you're damaged, you're not worthy, you don't belong here. Oh my gosh, it was a milestone moment in my life and was incredibly powerful. Hi, Nicole. And so look, I'm not alone. Women all over the world, whether they know it or not, because of, look, first of all, there are a shit ton of women that are still being sexually assaulted and abused and aren't telling anyone, all right? There are another group of women that have actually been physically assaulted. Powerful, beautiful, amazing women. You would not know it if you just saw them. Powerful women, all right, that have had their heads smashed against walls, that have ended up in the emergency room. That's happening here in our country. And then all over in other countries, we have women that are living violated lives, okay? So that's level one. That's actual reality happening right now. Add to that there have been years and years and years preceding that where women have had to survive, where women were burned as witches, where women could not share their wisdom and knowledge, where women could not speak up without threat of being cast out, without the idea of their children being on the streets or being beaten to a pulp or having their lives actually threatened. So you better believe that when we come from a history of that, it is in our DNA. It is built in, hey, survive, shh, be quiet, be small, don't speak up too big, don't shine too bright. Someone might ostracize you. And then when you have women fighting against other women, because now all the men, and I love men, all right? I'm not bashing anyone here, but when men have had the power for so long, and I have amazing, wonderful men in my life, and they're amazing, wonderful men that do not want this and are trying to undo this too. So I'm not bashing anyone, right? I am a man-loving woman. I'm just talking to whenever there were years and years of women fighting over, okay, if the man is the way that I'm going to live, then now I've got to fight against my sister in order to get a good man, keep a good man, and hold my income, hold the protection for my family. So now we also have this deep sister wound of sisters not acting like sisters, but selling each other out, selling each other out. Hey, she's a witch, burn her. you know, because she's beautiful and shining bright and she might steal my man. That is the BS that actually lives inside of our epigenetics. It's trauma passed on and lives as like, hey, I need to survive. How are we going to survive? And we come loaded with it, unfortunately, or fortunately, because we also come loaded with all kinds of other gifts. It's time to stop that BS of going after each other. It's time to support each other. And listen, right now it's the holidays and it is rainy as F here in Dallas. This is a time where if you let yourself, you could feel sad, alone, lonely. This is not the time to be going against each other. It's the time to support each other, love each other, share your pain, and wear it like with pride and joy, and knowing that you're not alone. Let other women know that they're not alone. Stop backbiting and talking about each other, all right? A pleasure center is hit in our brain when we share a secret. That's another reason that you feel like talking about each other. But you know what? Be better than that. Be sacred. Don't go talking behind your sister's back to other sisters. There's enough of that. Women have been suffering for a long effing time. And if we're going to take back our voice, take back our power, take back our truth, take back our holy body, stop being the abusers, we have to back each other up. Stop abusing ourselves. Stop abusing each other. Stop judging the skirt she's wearing, the Botox she got, the man that she left, her confusion, her career, and back your fucking sister up. All right? Back her up and back yourself up, because listen, what you're doing to other women, you're doing to yourself. If we're going to rise, and we are rising, we're going to do it together. All right? And to do that, we've got to own our bodies. First of all, a sacred, holy, freaking temples. This is where your God, spirit, divinity is living. Tomorrow you could go out and life could be over. It could happen to any of us. You have been given the gift of life. You have been given the opportunity to live inside this body. And we live right now when women are on the rise, and it will be through the women that we heal. It is through us sharing our light, sharing our love, doing the work, going to therapy, joining groups, getting coaching, getting mentorship, loving each other up, reading the books, listening to the videos, right? Thank you. Oh, goosebumps. Yes, the best love is between sisters. Let me tell you something else. I don't know if this is true anymore, but when a man gets married, his life and health are extended. It's not the same for women. What does that for us is having good girlfriends. So reach out and own that. And if you don't have girlfriends, all right, go get some. You be a good friend. You get good friends by being a good friend. You reach out. You shine bright. You give love. Stop talking behind each other's back. I want you to think of girlfriends and call them and say, hey, I love you. I'm proud of you. I see you. I watched you. I know it's tough, but I've got you. You're not alone. And when you feel like gossiping, share your shit. Don't share someone else's shit. Share the shit that you don't want to share with a sacred friend that you can trust, and open the space for another sister to share it, and then hold each other. Hold each other and say, we're going to get through this mess together. All right? And then when you're talking to your own body, own it as a sacred temple, okay? Not as like a taskmaster. Don't be the abuser. Ooh, you're ugly. Ooh, not smart enough. Ooh, look at that. Ooh, ooh. Yes, hold high intention. Groom yourself, love yourself, shine bright, but own this body, because the abuse has got to fucking stop. All right? There's enough of it. And then own your womb. Thank you, Tammy. Own your womb and come back into this womb space. That scary land, it has an intuition. It has a wisdom. It is discriminating. It is slow to open and allow someone in. It has to be adored, loved, cherished. It takes the time that it takes. And it is such an example of the power that we are as women, all right? We've been doing it one way for a long time. And that way has been rightfully so that we could survive, the rapes, the abuses, the self-sabotage, so that we could survive. But we're here to thrive, all right? And in order to thrive, you have got to get behind your back, and you've got to get behind your sister's back, and you've got to speak love. You've got to give love to yourself. You've got to stand up and own your truth, your love, your body, and then you've got to sink in to this womb, All right? You've got to shed the sexual shame. You've got to get to know what is it that you even desire, what is in there for you, because there is deep knowing for you. There's deep intuition. And if you didn't know this, sisters, check this out. The waste that comes from your vagina when you're menstruating, how do you say that? Hi, Laura Lynn. That waste, that blood, that stuff that is messy, that hope that I'm not wearing white. What's he gonna think when I'm dating? And that mess that is there, they have discovered, science is now showing that in just 1 tablespoon of that, there are thousands of stem cells. Do you know what a stem cell can do? The power of a stem cell? Perfect timing, I'm so glad. And this is important. So they've done studies. There was a man with a damaged heart, okay? Nothing was working, no surgery was working, and they injected him with menstrual blood. Our waste, our disgusting, smelly waste, messy, inconvenient waste. Within 1 year, he had a brand new heart. Our waste, okay? It gives me chills because we've been taught to hide our messy, disgusting, and to put all the pretty, beautiful, glorious, lovely on, okay? And I love that. I resonate with the temples of Egypt and the makeup as ritual, and I wear my fake nails, and I love glamour, and I love glitter, okay? Stem cells are the building blocks of everything in your body, everything. And our waste, our disgusting waste, is loaded with it. Do you get who you are as a woman? That you're disgusting, my waste, what I don't need, could heal a heart? Just let that sink in, because that is who you are. That is the representation of God, the holy woman on the planet, in your body. All right? That is who you are. Your waste can heal a freaking heart or build an entire body. All right? And that lives inside of your womb. And that speaks to the nature of a woman. When a woman is in her heart, she brings together a community. She unconditionally loves. She takes the brokenhearted and weaves him back together. She rebirths the masculine. All right? She will take together what is broken and bring it together and weave it together. All right? Giving it new life. That power lives inside of your body, or lived there at one time if you have gone through menopause. All right? That is who you are. That body that you have put aside as disgusting. So stop wasting your time bashing your body and start loving and appreciating your body. All right? Not because it's the only one you got. Not because, it's your temple. I know that I just said it's your temple, but you can hear it in that cliche way. Oh, I should be better to my temple. I got to work out harder, which most often means I got to get rid of that cellulite. Oh, I wish I looked skinnier or healthier, or like the girl in there. Or that you use to guilt and shame yourself. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying sink into your body, close your eyes, pull yourself out of the past, out of the future, out of the grocery list, and right into your body. Make yourself really tiny and look around at the walls and look and go, this is my house. This is where I live. This is where this Holy Spirit that came loaded with a purpose lives. You're holy, you're divine. And we are right on time, Laura Lynn. We are here. We chose to come in as women in these bodies. We chose to deal with the cellulite, deal with the shame, deal with the pain, to be here when women are saying, no, enough is enough. No, me too, me too, me too, me too, me too, me too. And even if it wasn't you too, you go, you know what, sister, it was you, so it was me. Because guess what? Birds of a feather flock together, right? So even if it didn't happen to you, and you think, oh, I wasn't affected by that, you were, because you hung out with all the little girls that were, and then they behaved a certain way because they were, and because you were their friend, you also behaved that same way, right? That's on one level. Energetically, we are all connected. Energetically, we are one heart, one womb, one woman, and we are here to bring that back together. So in order to do that, me too, and I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry. And it's all right for us to grieve that, to scream that, to feel that. And then we feel it, we wear it, we honor it, and we put it back together, and we do it together. And that's why, after all these years of work, and I have lots of certifications, lots of things that I can teach and do teach, but why do I focus on the body? And why do I bring it back to the basics? And why do I take you into your womb and clearing stuff from your womb? Because there's a lot of shit to be cleared. Not only from this lifetime, from your actual experiences, from bad love, from good love, from birthing, but from when you were in your mother's womb, from when you were in your mother and she was in her mother's womb. There are lifetimes of things to clear in our womb. And in order to own our power as women totally, we're going to have to come home into our bodies truly, home into our wombs, and then home here on this planet, sharing our truth from that place, from that self-reverent place, from that place of holding each other and holding our space. Yes? Thank you, those of you who popped on right now. I know that whenever I come on, that it's always the perfect person that's supposed to hear these and be here live, and you're holding that energy with me. It's always the perfect people who are supposed to re-watch this. If this meant something to you, share it. If you think it can encourage another woman and remind her that you think she is special, that she is holy, that she is worthy, that you're not afraid of her pain, that you're not afraid of her light, that you're not afraid of her desires, her fears, and that you're going to be there as her champion, standing for her when she shines up, when she says what she needs to say, when she acts bravely, when she leaves that asshole husband or that awesome husband that is just not aligned with her anymore, when she falls on her face and then gets up again. If there's someone that you're going to stand for like that and they come to your mind, please share it with them. But be that person for yourself and be it for your sister, because we need it. And if you're not in my group, Shamanista Queens, feel free to join me there if you want to have a heart-to-heart and talk about what's going on in your womb or anything around this owning your power, own your queendom. Private message me. Let's talk. Because now is the time. Now is your time. It is the only time that you have to live with more peace, more freedom, more power, and owning your divinity. Aw, I'm so glad that touched you, Laura Lynn. I love you all so much. And thank you, thank you, thank you. I see you, sister. I feel you. I know you. I'm not afraid of your pain. I'm not afraid of your passion. I'm not afraid of your light. In fact, I know that many of the women that I will work with personally are destined to become legendary themselves. But you know what? No matter how you show up in the world, you are a queen in your own world, and it is your time to own your truth, your art, your medicine, and your pain, your pleasure, your passion. And I support you, and I see you, and I need you. Mwah, mwah. Love you too, Lacey. Lots of love. Bye.